Episode 97. Do you have a plan? Welcome back to One Extraordinary Marriage, where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of intimacy. You're here with Alisa DiLorenzo.
And Tony DiLorenzo.
We hope you all had a very happy and not overstuffed Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
It was enjoyable here in San Diego. The weather was actually a little bit on the cool side, so it kind of felt like, Thanksgiving. And we had Tony's family down, so there were 8 of us all together, and just a nice day.
Mellow.
Very mellow.
We've gone from large family Italian get-togethers to 8 of us now.
Okay, tell them your highlight, though.
Oh, our highlight is that we had a Wii bowling tournament. And we had brackets all set up. And we picked numbers to see who would be where in the bracket.
Your seeds.
Yep, the seeds. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was very entertaining. Tony's mom was the surprise, not contestant.
Player?
Yeah. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Anyway, she gets up there, it's her bracket, and she's playing, who'd she play against?
Alex.
And she is all, Miss Innocent. How do I hold this? What do I do? And then she goes and bowls, 3 strikes. She gets the turkey right off the bat. And she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Turns out, I had a conversation with my sister-in-law this weekend. We went to pick up the kids. She said the same thing the first time she played Wii bowling with them.
Yeah, she ended up bowling a 214 that round, which was the highest round for the whole tournament, and then beat my father in the semis, and then I beat her in the championship. So
yes, in case you were trying to figure that out, Tony is our inaugural
winner,
Thanksgiving Wii bowling champion, which was kind of a good thing that he won, because we didn't think that out far enough that maybe we should have had prizes. So maybe next year we'll have to get like a bowling trophy.
Yeah.
Some kind of fun little bowling pin. I'll have to see what I can find. We'll start keeping track. But, it was just a good time, and it was something we had talked about doing. We're like, well, we're going to be together for a few hours. Let's do something fun. And the Wii bowling was something that we could all do. And, it's kind of interesting because, Tony's parents start thinking about this as something that they can do together.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it turns from just being kind of a fun thing that we're doing on a Thanksgiving afternoon to something they start talking about. Ooh, we could have fun doing this. And then, of course, any of you that have listened to some of our earlier episodes where we talk about different recreational intimacy, that Tony and I have done Wii sports on date nights, not fully clothed, and
which we'd like to call Naked Wii.
Naked Wii.
So if you haven't tried it or you're just listening, thank you for joining us. We love having you here. But
welcome to One Extraordinary Marriage.
It is a fun time and an exciting thing to do. Just play Naked Wii.
Yeah.
You're just hanging out. It's not very sexual or, you're going to jump in bed, but it's just, hey, we're naked. We're just feeling free and, enjoying each other's bodies and playing a little bowling.
So that came up just a little bit in...
And my brother was so funny because he's like, I don't need to think. I don't need to see those thoughts. Something to that nature.
Yeah, something like that. But, it just opened up for conversation and, kept it all fun. And then they actually took the kids for the weekend.
Yep, my brother and sister-in-law.
So Tony and I were able to get out and hike by ourselves Friday morning. I can't remember having done it since we've had kids.
No, we have.
Just the 2 of us?
Mm-hmm. We have. I'm just trying to think when.
It's been years.
It's been a while, yeah. But we've done it before.
Okay. I
mean, you got to think Alex is almost 9, so.
I know, but I just couldn't. Anyway, so we went hiking, which was really nice because it just gave us time to, kind of think back on what we've done in the past. And we spent a lot of time. There was like a 2-3 year stretch there where all of our vacations, all of our weekends, everything revolved around hiking. And so it was really kind of fun just to be back out. We just did our little roughly 3-mile Lake Poway loop over here and just walked and talked and, just had a really enjoyable time.
Yeah, that was great.
Doing that. That was a lot of fun. And I took Tony for his first pedicure this weekend when we didn't have the kids. I wanted to get my nails done. I'm like, hey, come with me. So Tony's feet look the best they've ever looked. and he found it very relaxing all up until they started doing the pumice on the bottom of his feet, and then he's just over there laughing, and I didn't realize his feet were so ticklish.
They were just very sensitive to the pumice.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'd say they were ticklish, but it was just that feeling on the bottom of my feet.
So, brand new experience for Tony, a little, recreational intimacy, doing something completely different.
Yeah. Just chilling together.
Just chilling. And then we had dinner with some friends and, just spent some time. And then yesterday was a long day driving up, but it gave us a chance to talk. And, so it was really, really a good couple of days. And I hope that in the midst of all of the craziness that is the holiday season, that you and your husband or wife have found some time just to sit and talk and kind of, figure out what the holidays are going to look like for you. Those of you that braved Black Friday or, Black Thursday after Thanksgiving, not quite Friday, because you're getting up at all kinds of crazy hours in the middle of the night. Hope you all survived.
Yeah.
We don't do that. So, we love reading all the stories on the internet and hearing from people, but, those of you that did, it kind of ties into what we're talking about tonight. And, you heard us 11 months ago, or if you didn't, go back and listen to the episodes in January where we talk about Christmas spending.
Yeah.
And we talk about how I overspent Christmas last year to the point that it put us in a bind come January. And really forced us to have to cut back on things. It was actually at that point in time that we made the decision to cut our cable, which we've, without problem, lived without for the entire year. I mean, it's been, just about a year without the cable. And we cut back on some other things. And, so we want to spend, this is, let's see. Oh, it'll still be November when this gets posted. It won't quite be December. But, we want to talk about having a plan for this Christmas season. Before you go out and you take advantage of every great deal and every, savings, which are all great. It's great to save money, but do you have a plan for what you're buying?
And more importantly, do you and your spouse together have that plan?
I have to bring up these ladies that that were in the nail salon.
Yes.
We were getting done. So we're sitting here talking, Tony and I are sitting there getting our feet massaged and whatnot. And there are these two gals and they're planning their afternoon strategy because we're in there about 3:00.
Right.
And apparently they were one of those, midnight, 3 a.m., crack of dawn shoppers. The one gal had then subsequently gone to work and they were planning their next round of shopping adventures. And the one gal looks at me and she goes, "It was great. We got 4 TVs and a digital picture frame and some cameras." And when Tony and I are leaving the place, I'm like, I wonder what she's doing with all that stuff.
And maybe some of you do this and you buy them. I was thinking to myself that maybe some people just go and do this, buy this stuff, and then resell it on Craigslist or eBay.
Okay. That's a possibility.
Yeah, because you got to figure if you're getting it that cheap, you can probably just turn around and sell it on Craigslist, even if you make, $25, $30, $40, $50 back. You sell 3 of them, you made just $150 just by being there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe some of you folks who do that, you can chime in and let us know.
Chime in and let us know. But it got me to thinking, this year we started making our plans for what Christmas was going to look like with Tony's family. I think it was
Easter.
February. It was Easter that we started having the conversations because when we all get together, there are 10 adults.
I think so.
I think there are 10 adults plus our 2 kids. So we take our kids out of the equation because they're kids and we have our own set of Christmas rules for them. But as far as the adults go, we had been doing, basically buy for everybody. And so that, you got $20 here and $50 here and $40 here. And next thing you know, you've spent $500 just on taking care of everybody. You haven't taken care, for me, hadn't taken care of the kids, hadn't taken care of Tony, but there's been all this outlay. And, people's feelings are getting hurt if, it just little things. And so we actually decided that this year we were going to draw names. Do
a little Secret Santa.
Secret Santa action. And so, there's a set dollar amount. We said $50 per person. We did up little Secret Santa wish lists. Santa, this is what I would like, or these are things that I do like. And so that right there, I was talking to Tony's mom on Thanksgiving Day, and, we're talking about the Secret Santa stuff, and she goes, it's different this year. I'm not having to think about, budgeting for all of these different people. I've got my Secret Santa, and I've got, for her, she's got her husband and the grandkids, and she does stocking stuffers for all of us because we all open stockings together Christmas morning. But you can tell, even though it feels a little weird, there's also that sense of relief of not having to allocate $20 for 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
She's looking at $50 versus $200.
Yeah. And I don't know. For me, I think it's going to work out nicely. Personally, over the years, and maybe some of you feel this way, and maybe some of you don't, but to me as a dad, I get more enjoyment just watching my kids open their stuff and just trying to remind them what Christmas is about. And over the years, I've become less and less enthralled with Christmas, even Thanksgiving anymore. I'm not really big into the holidays for some reason. Put up the Christmas tree, put up the lights, but I just don't get into it.
Well, I think a lot of it, and I heard many people comment over this last week, is just the commercialization of the holidays and the fact that, and I was talking to a girlfriend about this today. At one point in time, I'm taking myself back, but when we were kids, we would get the Sears catalog, the big Sears catalog, the wish book. And you would pour over that and you'd flip the pages, and it wasn't like, there's 1,000,001 commercials on TV and you've got the commercials flashing all over the internet and, all of these other places. No, you got the Sears catalog or the Penny's catalog, and that was like the holy grail of Christmas wish lists. And, the whole Black Friday thing, I don't remember that as a kid.
I don't remember that as an adult until some years back, really.
And so, and then it was Black Friday. And, stores would still kind of open at a normal time. And then that time started inching backwards to the point where now they open, Thursday night for Black Friday. And then even all of these retailers, this week, and then it was Cyber Monday. So now you've got Black Friday, and then they added Cyber Monday for all the internet.
Small Business Saturday.
Small Business Saturday.
Which is really weird because it's put on by American Express.
Yeah, that was an interesting article.
So...
But just
something to think about.
This whole last week, I was starting Monday a week ago, so the Monday before Thanksgiving, I started getting all of these email messages from Office Depot and Victoria's Secret and wherever saying, forget Black Friday. We're having sales starting on, today on Monday. So then there was this whole week. So people are getting all wrapped up in, what's the deal going to be like Monday? What's the deal going to be Tuesday? That by the time you get to, even before you get to Thanksgiving, people are already, frazzled about the Christmas shopping. And so you just kind of lose the fact of, okay, are we celebrating time together? Are we celebrating, like the Wii bowling tournament, which I have to say, I thought it was kind of corny when he first mentioned it, but we had so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, that was just fun to get together, and we just, all of us were there laughing, having a good time. To me, that's more what it's about. It's not even about like the food. I mean, heck, we've
even changed what we're doing next year.
Yeah, next year. I mean, we typically, Alisa and I hold Thanksgiving at our house, and my mom does Christmas, and my aunt does Christmas Day. So my mom does Christmas Eve, and so we just break those things up. And then Easter is usually at my brother's and sister-in-law's, so we break those up. But we have typically done a full turkey, and this year we did a full turkey. But we realized everybody likes the white meat. The dark meat sits around. So next year, we're going to just buy turkey breasts and
just cook those. So we might as well, and just less food.
Yeah.
And, even with our kids, I had mentioned earlier in the show that we've got, kind of separate rules for our kids at Christmas. And I've shared those in the past, and I want to share them again because a lot of you are starting to do your holiday shopping, your Christmas shopping for your kids. And, here's the thing. I mean, we went through this because we've already had one child's birthday in the last 2 weeks, and we've got the next one. We're packed with birthdays right here between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and my kids absolutely don't need a thing. They don't need for anything. Do they want stuff? Absolutely, they're kids. I mean, come on. But even when I was telling their friends, what do the kids want? I said, I want my kids to have experiences. So if you want to give them a gift card, here are some of their favorite restaurants. Because then we get to go out and we get to have, ice cream at their favorite ice cream shop, or burgers at their favorite burger shop. Or in Abby's case specifically, because we've just had her birthday party, I said, she loves art. She loves to draw. We can never have enough paper or art supplies in our house. They don't break. She doesn't ever stop playing with them.
And typically we'll find Abby, if she's having a tough time going to sleep at night, she has her own little table that she'll color on, and we'll find her there just passed out. When she's ready, I mean, she'll still have a crayon or a marker in her hand, just sleeping, mouth open, and that's just the way she just chills.
And, on the flip side, Alex has always been very into Legos. Legos don't break. They hurt like crazy if you step on them.
And we have
thousands
of them.
Of Legos. Alex inherited all of Tony and Paul's Legos. But even when I was talking to my in-laws and talking to everybody this year at Christmas, I'm like, you know what? Think experience.
Yeah. Because
they really don't need any more toys.
And for Alisa and I, we've done this many, many, many years ago when the kids were first born. Christmas is about the birth of Jesus Christ. That's what it's about. So to get ourselves and the kids understanding this, what we have always told them is, hey, look it. When Jesus was born in that little manger in Bethlehem, the wise men came and he got 3 gifts. That is what Jesus got. 3 gifts. And if Christmas is about Jesus, who is our Savior, then you and I shouldn't get any more than 3 gifts. Mm-hmm. From one person. I mean, understanding. My mom's going to get them a gift. My aunt will give them a gift, whatever that is. But from Alisa and I, our standpoint, we just said, look, Jesus got 3 gifts. We will give you 3 gifts. Mm-hmm. And over the years, I mean, the amounts have changed and what we give them has changed. One of Alisa's friends has taken that one step farther.
I love this. And I absolutely have to share this with you. And Aaron, if you listen to this podcast, tribute to you, because you took my idea and you made it even better. My girlfriend, Erin, she has told her kids, same thing. Jesus got 3 gifts. You're getting 3 gifts. But they broke it down to, since Jesus got 3 different gifts, one gift from them to their children will be a book, or one gift will be clothing, and one gift will be a toy. Mm-hmm. And so, the kids know. You're going to open 3 presents. One's going to be a book, one's going to be clothing, and one's going to be a toy.
Yeah, I like that.
And, it's like she was relating to me the conversation she had with her husband, kind of explaining how they were going to take, my idea and make it even better. And he's like, well, what else is there? And I thought, you know what? You're absolutely right. Yeah. For us, for our children, reading is something that we place a lot of value on. So for me to buy a book or books for the kids, not a problem. We know what they're into. Our kids always need clothes. I'm sure your kids always need clothes. Boom. There's the clothing component. And maybe it's something fun that you wouldn't normally buy, so you get it for Christmas. This is not the time to buy them underwear, although my kids do get underwear in their stocking because we usually needed that. And then the toy, you know what? If they get one toy from you and, they're probably getting toy or game type gifts from other people in the family, they're going to end up with enough toys. Mm-hmm. And, I've noticed with our kids over the years, as I watch them open their Christmas presents, especially if they get a lot of toys, we start ending up with broken pieces over here. And the novelty, the appreciation for the gift wears off in the rush to open the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if this is a toy, what's the next toy? And there's no like, oh my gosh, that was like, I just got the doll I wanted. Or, like I said, we've got a big Lego fan here. So we've been getting the requests for certain Lego sets. And so you have that, okay. I mean, every Christmas since he was probably 4, trying to think when Alex got his first Christmas Lego set, it was probably 4. Mm-hmm. Alex has sat down with
the Lego catalog.
No, he sits down at Christmas and sits down with either you or your brother or both of you, our sister-in-law. And, between when the presents are opened Christmas morning and when Christmas dinner is served, there's a Lego creation.
Yeah, we're usually building it, and this is maybe something you can do for your spouse. For Alisa and I, we don't put a lot into this for ourselves. I mean, it is a day where we appreciate. We don't really give each other a lot of gifts. Especially this year, it's just not going to work out in the budget. Business has been slow. I've mentioned that a little bit before. So, it's not that we're trying to hold back on each other. It's just we spend our money on other things. And like Alisa says, the experiences of life for us are more important than a gift that's going to sit in our house. Mm-hmm. The time and the trip we spent in Laguna Beach for our 15th wedding anniversary, that's an experience to us. That means more to us, and to spend the money there was well worth it. And so, but if you guys are the type where this is really part of that time for you, maybe you work in that 3 present rule, and you put a dollar amount around that, so you're not going crazy. I think one of the bigger things that I remember years ago when Alisa and I really didn't have a handle on this, is before kids too, is like, well, how many gifts do I get her? And how much am I going to spend? And how much is she going to spend on me? And, and even in my mind then I'm going, gosh, I don't want her to spend a lot, but we never really talked about it. So it was very nebulous. And this is a great time to just sit down with your spouse and go, okay, well, what's our plan to spend on each other? And if it's one of those things too, and here's the thing, I know for us, because we don't really run on a lot of cash, we have our debit cards, we don't have credit cards in our own names, we don't have credit cards at all. So if it's one of those things where you want it to be a surprise, well then just whatever that amount is, $100, $150, $200, just take the money cash. Mm-hmm. And that way you can buy it cash. I know if you're going to buy it online, that gets a little bit tougher, but maybe you can get one of those Visa cards, that you can just buy for $100 or something like that, and then just put it on that Visa card. But that's an idea, because I know many of you do really enjoy this time of year, and it's a time that for you it's a giving. You want to give. That is just sort of how God has created you, and to give is the joy. And for us, and for me in particular, like I said, it's declined over the years. More and more I look at, hey, how can we experience life? And to have something under the Christmas tree and open it on Christmas Day from Alisa, it just isn't something that really goes, woo, to see the kids get their stuff, that to me, that's where the joy is. So, obviously look for deals. We'd love it if you're shopping Amazon, please go to oneextraordinarymarriage.com. We got the little Amazon deal on the right-hand side down low. That's a way to support us, just through your shopping. But look for those deals. I mean, if you can find something that's like new in used condition,
check out Craigslist.
Yeah.
In years past, we have bought great toys for the kids off of Craigslist. Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, it's kind of like a car. Let somebody else take the depreciation on things like dollhouses and
actually, last year we bought this awesome dollhouse for Abby. Used it this whole year, and then just about a month ago, it has been sitting in there. She wasn't playing with it. Turned around, sold it back on Craigslist for the same price we bought it for. So, woohoo! Yeah, I mean, you can totally make it happen. Think outside the box. Sites
like Groupon or Moolala, or those types of sites where you can find deals. I mean, I just recently saw a post here in San Diego, and I can't remember which one it was, but it was house cleaning for, I think, $50 for 3 hours. And guys, I will be honest with you, your wife would love to have her house cleaned. I just, if she doesn't have a housekeeper already, that is one of the things that I've heard time and time again from, I would love to have my house cleaned, but I can't justify the expense, because at $150, maybe you can't. But at $50, when you get, one of the deals, you stick a little card that says, honey, the house is getting clean. You just got to call this number. Yeah. She's going to be happy. Or spa, you can find spa services on those sites, or dance lessons, or, again, if you've noticed kind of a theme here, I'm talking about experiences.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the stuff, and don't get me wrong, Tony has given me great gifts over the years. There have definitely been those that have been cherished, and some that I use and then it's over and okay.
Yeah.
So it's more about don't buy gifts just to be buying gifts.
Yeah, have a purpose behind it. And our good friend and my business partner at Fit Marriage, Dustin, he wrote a post just recently on his engaged marriage site called 10 Life-Changing Online Christmas Gifts for Married Couples.
I saw that. That was a great article.
And you know what? It might be as simple as, hey, picking up an ebook, an audio book or something that could really enhance or change your marriage. Both of those can happen this year, next year. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Maybe it's, like Alisa said, maybe it's just getting a gift certificate through Groupon or one of these other sites, and it's a night away.
Go to restaurant.com.
Mm-hmm. Restaurant.com. We've gotten a lot of stuff there. Think outside the box. And I think the bigger thing is we're talking about, because we're really dealing with our financial intimacy here. And we've seen it over the years for many couples. This time of year really can blow up your finances. It's affected us, obviously. And because of that, it really has a direct impact on the intimacy that you guys have together. Mm-hmm. It's one of those areas we don't like to talk about at all as married couples. And to overcome that, though, you need to talk about it. You need to know how much you're spending on each other, how much you're spending on the kids. And so you don't end up like Alisa and I did in January of this year, where it's like, holy cow, why are we like this right now? Because we didn't do this last year. We just went along our merry way, me feeling that, hey, everything's going cool. And that's what ended up happening. So
can I share that Gallup poll?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So I was just, before we got online, because I had seen somebody post on Facebook earlier in the week about how much, the average consumer is going to be spending on gifts. And I thought it was too high until I started searching today. And I found this article from Gallup.com. It was their November 15th article for this year. And the title is Consumers' Holiday Spending Intentions Perk Up in November. And the very first line of the article says, Americans currently estimate they will spend an average of $764 on gifts this year. Hello. $764 on gifts? And I've seen this number in many, many articles too, the average American family is between $600 and $800 away from financial crisis.
Yeah, wow.
And living paycheck to paycheck. Where is that additional money coming from?
Credit cards.
And guess what? You still have to pay that back plus interest. So then Christmas ends up costing you 3 times as much.
And is that worth it? Think about that. Is that worth it for your marriage?
And for your family. And, we talk about having that financial intimacy with each other. It is okay for your kids to hear
how much you're spending on them.
Either how much you're spending on them, or the fact that, we're not doing an extravagant Christmas. Tie it back in, if you are a Christian family, tie it back into Jesus and just say, hey, you know what? We're going to try something different this year. We're going to be more like Jesus. Doesn't have to be a big deal about dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives you the ability to dial back those spending dollars, relating it to the true meaning of Christmas, and giving you that peace of mind that January is not going to come with, 25 bills in your mailbox from MasterCard and Visa and Bank One and Chase and Capital One and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Go to bed breathing easy because you haven't put yourself in debt this Christmas. Have a plan so that you don't put yourself in debt this Christmas.
Yeah.
Talk to your spouse so that you guys are on the same page. Because if one really likes to spend and one not so much, you've got to come to a middle ground that's comfortable for both of you.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of the stress of the holidays comes from. People get caught up in the, well, I got to get this and I got to, it's the I got to gets. well, you know, he's going to spend $200 on me. I got to go spend $200 on him. You know, if that's not comfortable, then that's probably not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to, giving should not ever be about making it equitable. Right. You know, it should be about what you truly want to give and bless that other person with. You know, if my kids need underwear, then getting them fun underwear at Christmas. Or here's one. My kids go through toothbrushes.
Oh,
I don't even understand how they go through so many toothbrushes, but they do.
They chomp on them.
But they know every Christmas that the toothbrush they get on December 25th is always an electric toothbrush. I was getting one of the fun little ones. Okay, right. It's something they need, but I make it fun for them. You know, and so it's just doing those little things that allow you to have the joy. But, you know, and Alex was joking with me the other day. He's like, Mom, can I get one of those like $99 toothbrushes? No. Thank you for asking. Yeah. But I'm not getting you a $100 toothbrush.
Yeah. You know, and I think that this is a great place. I mean, please put down your comments. You know, what do you guys get? What are some of the fun things that you do give year in excuse me, year in and year out? I think one of the things that I've learned over the years too is sometimes we get very much into our own routines, and it's always cool to hear what other people do, because it makes me think and breaks me out of my routines. I mean, and you can even tell me I'm completely wrong about how I feel about Christmas as well, and maybe why I should look at it differently. You know, but that's cool. Add your comments below this. I
would love to hear what people are doing for,
you know, and again, we're of the frugal mind. We'd rather, you know, give something fun, but doesn't need to be, you know, $100, you know.
That's just the way we choose to live.
Yeah.
We gift during the year. You know, we don't tend to hold everything back like, oh, I'll just get that at Christmas time. I'll just get that at Christmas. It's like, no, you know, if you see something you like, I mean, a couple months ago when we went to Nordstrom's and Tony, you know, saw those jeans he liked and the shirt, you know what? We're going to do it then.
Yep.
And so, you know, for us, Christmas is not all about the presents under the tree. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing wrap boxes under the tree. I do. But we're really trying to shift our emphasis both financially and spiritually to what Christmas is supposed to be about.
Right.
Because in our opinion, and actually I'll pull that back. In my opinion, and I'm super, super guilty of this, there have been years where it's been all about what's under the tree. That's been my focus. What are the kids getting? And, you know, with 2 birthdays between Thanksgiving and Christmas, actually 3 birthdays because we've got Andrew's birthday the day after Alex's, it's very easy for me to get focused on all of the things and lose the true spirit. And, you know, I think most of us are guilty of that. To some extent, we want to do so much for our families. We want to, you know, give. And sometimes really all they want is to sit down and share an ice cream cone with you.
Yeah, so maybe go get them a gift card at one of the yogurt joints.
Yeah, it's those little things that are going to make a memory, as opposed to being the latest, greatest toy they got this year, which next year they might not even remember what it was. You know, or your husband. I mean, you know, I buy Tony clothes when I see when I see something that catches my eye. He wouldn't necessarily care whether or not there was a sweater under the tree at Christmas time. That's just not the relationship, the giving relationship that we have. He already knows what's going to be under the tree for us this year. And it's partly because in the last 2 weeks, we have gifted each other a dishwasher repair, and we've gifted each other a, you know, window repair on my van. And so that has, you know, that impacts us.
Yep.
But you know what? We're on the same page. You know, we joke.
Yep.
He got the dishwasher repair. I got the van repair. You know, we're good. And because we're on the same page, it makes it okay. he's not dictating to me, well, you know what? I fixed your van and I fixed your dishwasher. So there's all the money for Christmas. Now you need to go spend money on me.
Mm-hmm.
No. And when you're okay just being together and just having that time. My son wants to do a puzzle on Christmas Day with the whole family. Do you think I'm going to make sure there's a puzzle under the Christmas tree for everyone? Yeah. Absolutely. Because you know what? We're going to be sitting around doing a puzzle.
Yeah. It'll be cool.
It's...
So I think our main thing is we talk about all forms of intimacy, and, we hadn't discussed financial in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those that we haven't discussed, and we wanted to hit it now. And so that way you don't hear from us in January talking about how we overspent, but how we are actually taking our own advice and learn from our mistake from last year and putting it into practice this year. And with that being said, we hope that you take the advice, and maybe you've already started spending a little bit or some. Maybe maybe you haven't spoken with your spouse about that, and that's okay. But you know what? It's time to talk to them about it, work through some of that. And maybe if something has to go back right now, it's okay. Many of you will agree with us that finances cause a lot of tension in our marriages, which cause a lot of stress in all forms of our intimacy, which separate us, which then causes more havoc. It's this cycle. And so what our hope is that by listening to us today, that you can overcome this now and not have heartache and pains going forward into 2012. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at with this. We hope that you guys enjoy this. We hope that you'll give us your feedback, though, of, what are some of the gifts that you do give your kids or your spouse? Each year, it's sort of that little thing that you do give. What does Christmas mean to you? Are you like me as a husband and a dad, where, the joy is more in just being there, experience it? Or are you on the other end of it, where you really want to get some stuff? And that's okay. Either way is good. I mean, neither way is bad. It's just where we are in life.
Right.
Things change and happen.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know what you're up to. You can even call us in or call in. Let us know what you think. 858-876-5663 is that number. You got anything else there, honey?
No, I think that's it. We want this to be a peaceful season.
Definitely.
And, you can take control of your own peace right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do it through being transparent with your spouse, transparent with your family, and give yourself that gift.
Yeah.
This year, because the gift of peace, it's, you want to talk about priceless? That's where it is.
Yeah. Totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. With that said, you guys, we love you. We hope you have a fantastic week. God bless. Take care. And we'll talk to you next week.